Hello, beautiful people. It's Cinderella. Welcome to the channel. Today we're back again with another video, and this is from Candace Owens. This is about Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. We're gonna check this together, and I'll love your thoughts and your contribution at the end of the video. Let's dive right in.
And one of you guys sent me something really interesting about Ryan and Blake. I got to present it to you guys real quickly. So, as you know, long ago, when we were just getting into the lawsuit and understanding all of the players, I had theorized that a large portion of the emails that were written and some of the text messages that we have seen throughout the lawsuit were actually being authored by Ryan Reynolds. There was just a certain decorum in some of the messages that I think he's authoring, which deviate from the style of messages that Blake writes. I've said this many times. I'm not trying to be insulting, just being realistic. Ryan is clever, Blake not so much. And she's much more flirty and she just comes across as less focused. I think she kind of thinks, being cute is enough and somebody else should take care of things for her. And she's a bit bratty. And Ryan is always kind of trying to manipulate, and he has this personality trait where he always sees himself as a character. He's always thinks he's a character. But something that I had never imagined as I was theorizing all of these things was the possibility that Ryan Reynolds, and not Blake Lively, was the one that offered the now infamous Game of Thrones text message. The one where these are my dragons and Ryan and Taylor are my dragons. Never in a million years did I think that it was possible that Ryan Reynolds authored it and not Blake. Now we are at 1 in a million years because I fully think that it's plausible that he was the one that authored it, and I'll tell you why. So way back when Blake Lively was promoting her movie, The Age of Adeline, she was starring alongside in that flick with a guy who was in Game of Thrones. His name was Mikhail Hausman. And so while they were doing press for this movie, they were asking her questions about whether or not she had ever seen Game of Thrones. And just to be clear, Game of Thrones was just about to start its 5th season. So it's 5th season. And Blake Lively admitted that she had never seen it. She basically told them, quote, "My husband, I'm outing him and I shouldn't, but he became obsessed with Game of Thrones." She joked he did everything that he could to pirate episodes that hadn't even been shot yet. So that was a little tough point in our marriage. Now we're through it because there's a new season coming out. And then right after she chatted with that E! News reporter, season 5 premiered. So she had never seen it. And then I had my producers go through her Twitter feed because, her and Ryan had back forth cute tweets to each other for a very long time. People were following. They were both very active on Twitter, as it was called then. And there's no mention of Game of Thrones. And typically, if you were someone that got into it, I got into it. Everybody had something to say about the season finale. Everybody had something to say about, Cersei Lannister, this or that. Nothing from Blake Lively. Nowhere else does she mention Game of Thrones or being a fan of Game of Thrones. So we know that for the first 5 seasons, she didn't watch it, but her husband got obsessed. So obsessed, as he did get the same kind of obsession that he had with Field.
Okay, here is it, right? I still don't believe that it was the husband per se. Maybe it may be part of his idea, or it may be his idea to throw in Khaleesi, the dragons, and whatever. I want to believe that it will be his idea, but I don't want to believe that it is the husband, because it sounds about like what Madame Khaleesi can do. Because you see, she is about authorship, because nobody made her to say authorship or whatever. And if you're not good, or you don't feel like, or you think that, okay, throw in the word Khaleesi because you've not seen the Game of Thrones, or I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I actually did not watch Game of Thrones or whatever because of the hype around it. So I mean, Khaleesi or whatever, I may not necessarily know that, but if I am sending a text message and maybe I am asking questions and somebody throw in some certain words that I know nothing about, I'm gonna do my research to find out what that means and make sure that, okay, it befits it. So obviously, she may not watch Game of Thrones, but I mean, she and her husband, they live together, right? And if he is obsessed with him, with Game of Thrones, she may just take a glimpse of it and maybe not fully concentrate on it. I mean, yeah, there are some movies that my sister may put on the TV, and maybe I may not be interested in the movie. I may not watch the movie per se, but from afar, or from where I am, I can just listen or hear what is going on around or in the movie and all that doesn't necessarily mean that I have seen the movie or I saw the movie. I may have heard it or whatever. So for me, I am not buying or I'm not going to believe that Blake did not write that Khaleesi. I will not believe that. Really.
of Dreams. Remember, he talks about his obsession with Field of Dreams a lot, and he speaks about it in interviews, how much he loves it. Well, Game of Thrones was this same experience for him where it became a piece of his character, and he wanted to use it as he was promoting his Wrexham UK football team back in December of 2023. Take a listen. I mean, this is so Ryan Reynolds. He has this quality. I'm thinking back, I'm like, obviously it was Ryan. He gets obsessed. Like, he just gets totally obsessed, and he likes to envision himself as these characters, like we said.
But listen, you remember Khaleesi or Blake wrote she's Khaleesi, and just like Khaleesi, she has little dragons. So maybe he is one of her dragon. Who knows? But he may not be the husband. Maybe the both of them may be together. Who may just say, okay, throw in the word Khaleesi and the dragons. Maybe. But to say it was the husband that wrote it, I will not be believing that. I will not. I cannot let these people just off the hook like that with Madame Khaleesi, Plantation Khaleesi. Bam, 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 bam. No, no way.
Ryan Reynolds. He has this quality. I'm thinking back, I'm like, obviously it was Ryan. He gets obsessed. Like, he just gets totally obsessed, and he likes to envision himself as these characters. Like we said, Deadpool, he's not playing Deadpool. He is Deadpool. And for her to admit that he became obsessed with this, and we know he's controlling and obsessive, and he likes to fancy himself as this big character. Like, he's constantly trying to escape who he actually is via these characters. And I'm sure there is some psychological assessment or diagnosis here that we're missing, that somebody can tell us, but that, because I've seen another person who's like this as well, where like they watch a movie and they think that's me. This is actually who I am. And they want to embody those individuals. And so now you look back at this message and you remember something else. The first time that Ryan Reynolds ever messaged Justin Baldoni, he was the one that name dropped Taylor Swift, not Blake Lively. The very first message that he ever authored, Justin Baldoni, he said this. Now they blanked out her name, but Taylor would say the same. Some of the greatest creative decisions that I've made are in fact Blake. The same goes for Taylor. The acting is a small piece of a pretty astounding patchwork quilt of creativity. He's describing himself and Taylor Swift, and saying that Blake has helped them make some of their greatest decisions. And that's actually what they reintroduce. That's the same concept that's reintroduced in the now infamous Game of Thrones tweet that Blake writes back to Justin Baldoni when he's like, hey.
Okay, sorry I had to pause it here, but there are some things that I also want to say, or there's something that I also want to say. Remember that Taylor Swift is also not just the only person in their life that is best friend. They also have Sean Levy, they also have Hugh Jackman and all that. And listen, I guess we are the ones that are most likely throwing the Taylor name down there or there just because we saw the Taylor in the during the rooftop scene saga that happened in the penthouse and all that. So people's mind is just going to Taylor or Taylor Swift. It may not even be Taylor Swift, the black blank. It may be somebody that's it's not even their name. They potentially don't want the name revealed, and we are the ones that just want to believe that it is Taylor. Think about it, because these people know what they are doing, and most especially talk about the Khaleesi thing. If the husband Brian Reynolds truly watched Game of Thrones, then he would know how it ended with Khaleesi, right? So he would not want to throw Khaleesi in the box or throw Khaleesi under the bus to say, oh, just like that is Khaleesi. Or they might as well use another name or use somebody, maybe a lead character or whatever that didn't die in the movie. So you have to put one or two things together and realize that, well, and yeah, we know that BL is not smart. So obviously, but I mean, they like this power, this control, or whatever. So if the husband truly watched Game of Thrones to the end, then he may not, if he is the one who actually sent this message allegedly, then we may not have seen Khaleesi, right? Right? So, I mean, we also have to put all of that in the box. For me, I don't believe, and I don't want to believe that it is Ryan's handwriting. What do you think?
Hey, look, like, you didn't have to help them make some of their greatest decisions. And that's actually what they reintroduce. That's the same concept that's reintroduced in the now infamous Game of Thrones tweet that Blake writes back to Justin Baldoni when he's like, hey, look, like, get you didn't have to get Taylor Swift and your husband to gang up on me. I liked your feedback on some of these edits and we could have worked together without, A-list bullying. Essentially, that's what he was saying. And what does he say? Well, he says, I'm saying he now because I think it's Ryan, both Taylor and Ryan have established themselves as absolute titans, as writers and storytellers outside of their primary gig, just singing or just acting or Taylor just directing. Maybe it says Ryan just directing. I'm not sure who's blacked out there. I'm so lucky to have them as creative.
This is it. That blank directing. Who is a director? You want to know who? Who the director is? Who is the director of Deadpool? Red Notice. Who is the director? The director. Who is? Is it director or producer, right? But director, yeah. Who is it? There is a name of the person.
Barometers. That's effectively the exact same sentence. Or Taylor just directing. Maybe it says Ryan just directing. I'm not sure who's blacked out there. I'm so lucky to have them as creative barometers. That's effectively the exact same sentence. That's almost the exact same sentence rewritten that he first wrote to Justin Baldoni. Three of us work together, the creative barometers. That's not Blake Lively speaking. Do you really think Blake Lively would talk about creative barometers? That she would call them absolute titans? I just don't feel like this is her vocabulary now that I'm revisiting these messages. And then, of course, that message ends with her saying, if you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons. And of course, Ryan probably fancies himself as Khaleesi. I think that's probably the character that he felt the closest to. I really do. I think that deep inside, he wants to be a queen. I think he is a queen. I think Ryan is Queen Khaleesi, and that he authored this message because I don't think Blake Lively has this extensive of a vocabulary on the basis of everything that I've ever seen of her. So I'm putting that theory out there. I think we got that wrong, and that what likely happened was Justin messaged her that, and she's a bit lazy. This is the woman that didn't even read the script. Don't forget, infamously, she didn't even read the script for the movie that she was going to be in. And then suddenly she wanted to make a ton of changes. And I think that was actually Ryan who read the script and wanted to make a ton of changes for her, which he eventually, as we found out, did rewrite the entire first scene. I mean, Blake has proven time and time again she's quite lazy, and she relies on others to do work for her. And it's likely that as soon as Justin messaged her that, she ran over to Ryan and she was like, look what he said. And he was like, I've got this. Creative barometer. Me, Tay. Khaleesi dragons. I am Khaleesi. Don't mess with me or you will get burned. Interesting theory. Anyways, wanted to share it. And
Well, this makes sense, but for me, I still don't believe, and I still would not believe that that is Rand's handwriting. I still want to believe that it sounds like what BL can do, and is about her, because it obviously is going to be about her, and to love this attention, whatever that they get. And so, um, yeah, well. Do you guys want me to ask Siri, who is the director of Deadpool and Wolverine? Hey Siri, who is the director of Deadpool and Wolverine? Here it is on the screen. Directing rights is on my screen. That is who you're just gonna see that is the blank. That is the blank. I mean, you already know it. Just maybe check Google. That is it. So I think that is the blank that we saw there. But obviously, they would be so happy to throw lots of these names in, because I mean they are quite powerful, right, in the industry, and their movie is successful and all that. So who knows? But that Khaleesi message, I still don't buy it, because yeah, he may be obsessed with Game of Thrones, but if he has seen Game of Thrones, he knows how it ended for Khaleesi. So do you think they want to use that a character that did not live? Think about it. They'll go for the surviving one. What do you think? But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below regarding this. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.